all in. Um, I'll introduce myself real quick. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Danny Decker. I'm co-founder, partner here at Spotlight Marketing and Branding. Really excited to be here with you guys. Have Eddie with us today. Eddie, I'll throw it over to you if you want to give a quick intro.
Absolutely. My name is Eddie DeZal. I'm also right here next to Danny in Charlotte, North Carolina at Spotlight Marketing and Branding. I'm the senior marketing strategist here. So if you ever want to talk strategy or figure out how to get more clients, I'm the person you talk to. So I'm ready to roll.
Love it. Well, we're gonna get rolling in just a quick second here, guys. Just so we have a sense of who's in the room, let us know where you're tuning in from. Just drop it in the chat. This is a good chance for us to make sure that chat is operating. You should have a button, green button that says chat. Click on it and make sure when you type your message in that it's going to everyone, not just the hosts and panelists. Unless, of course, you want to send us a question just for hosts and panelists. But just let us know, guys, where are you tuning in from? Um, Again, we're coming to you from Charlotte, North Carolina. We typically have folks in these webinars from all over the country, so always like knowing where you guys are chiming in from. So that said, we are going to dive in, and the topic here today is a big one. Okay, we do a lot of these webinars that I would call zoomed in on a very specific piece of marketing, sales, law firm growth, right? We've done a lot of webinars on AI search, for example. Today we're zooming out, right? We are covering a lot of ground. We are going to talk about really the complete formula from start to finish. And yes, we're not going to get into incredible detail about every single point, but we're kind of just going to lay it all out there. So I'll let you know right now, we're going to move fast. This is one of those webinars. If you have been to one of our webinars before, maybe you understand this. But this is even more true for this one, right? No fluff. You really probably don't want to be multitasking on this one. I would not be trying to, work on composing emails or kind of whatever. I highly encourage you, close tabs. We're going to jump in. We're going to move fast. And this all kind of builds on itself. So I'll ask one more time just because I haven't heard from anybody yet. Want to be sure the chat is working. Where are you guys tuning in from? What city are you located in? Or just say hi or something. Just somebody please let me know that that chat is working. If nothing else, I want you guys to be able to ask questions as we go. Mike from Charlotte, wonderful. Hey Maria, how are you? Great to have you here. Where are you guys tuning in from? Cool, Andrea,
Texas.
Texas. Very good. Hope it is warmer there than it is here. But all right, cool guys. We're gonna get into it. We will pause for questions if you have them, so feel free to ask. We will also make some time for questions at the end. But I do want to let you know this is going to be interactive. I'm going to get to a few points where I'm going to want some input from you. So again, like let's play all in. Let's jump into it. We're going to cover some really good stuff here. So starting with this, like listen, the whole reason marketing exists, the only point really of marketing is to help your law firm grow, right? Why do you need marketing? To grow your law firm. Now, growth goals are independent, right? Your growth goals may be different than somebody else's growth goals, may be different than my growth goals. And so the first thing you really got to do if you are serious about building your marketing plan is get clear on what your growth goals actually are, right? This is a great time for this conversation because it is January. We've got the whole year ahead of us. And so here's what I would love to hear, right? What are your growth goals? And that could be, hey, we have a revenue target. Maybe we want to crack $1 million for the first time, right? Maybe you want to crack 10 million, maybe 250,000. Or maybe it's not about a revenue goal. Maybe it's about you just know you want to increase your average case value so that you can be more profitable and work less hard and take home more money. Like that is a very legitimate and great goal. Okay. Some of you, we talk to, again, Eddie, we talk to dozens of law firms every month, right? And one of the things we hear a lot is looking to launch a new practice area, move into a new market, right? Lots of different reasons, appropriate reasons to grow, right? But what really matters is that you are clear on what your goals are. So please do. Let's take a second. Drop in chat. What are you looking to accomplish this year with your law firm from a growth perspective? Do you have a revenue target? Are you trying to launch a new practice area, move into a new market? Eddie, what are some of the conversations you have when you're talking to law firm owners about growth?
What do they want? I mean, first thing, what do they want? And I wouldn't trust any marketer that pitches any sort of idea without asking these types of questions first. Where do you want to go? Where are you? And what's stopping you from getting there? Let's figure out how to get there together. That's it. I mean, these are it.
I love it. And that's just it. And that's why, guys, I do want to spend a minute here. And Andrea, thanks for chiming in. Referral marketing, awesome. That is an awesome growth strategy. A lot of law firms, most of you here probably get a lot or the majority or even all of your business from referrals, but that doesn't mean you can't grow that even further. And that is part of what we're going to talk about. Listen, whether you're sharing it in the chat, whether it is just a note that you have, maybe you have a business plan created. The bottom line is before you get serious about marketing, you have to define your goals. So if you skipped this step, like you're building a machine that's not calibrated in any way. Okay. Carmen, I love that. Make a million. Is that gross revenue, Carmen, or is that personal take home pay that you're aiming for? Either way, love the specific goal. But that's the point, guys. You gotta have a specific goal. Otherwise, what exactly are you trying to accomplish? Because again, marketing, if you are trying to 5x your firm, looks very different than if you are trying to double your firm, okay? Or let alone if you're trying to grow your firm 10%. Neither is better, neither is automatically better than the other, but marketing looks very different depending on your goals.
Hmm?
All right, so let's get into it. Listen, this is really simple, actually. I am going to do my very best to take a lot of noise. The marketing world is full of noise. We kind of all know this, and distill it into something very simple. Okay. So, really, at its core, and I even have a visual for this to help it make even more sense, there's really just three things that have to happen to hit your growth goals. Again, whether that's a 10% growth, 100% growth, 500% growth, there's really only three things that need to happen, right? And we're going to get very specific over the next 45 minutes or so. One is you need to create content that attracts your ideal clients. Doesn't attract everybody, attracts the type of clients that you want to serve, that you have built your law firm to serve. Okay. You want to attract those people. And ideally, you actually want to keep everybody else away. Okay. Good marketing attracts the right clients and it keeps everybody else away. Two, once you've got this content, you're going to use paid ads and search marketing to push that content in front of the right clients. Okay. It's one thing to create content. You've heard the joke, right? If a tree falls in the forest, nobody's around to hear it. Did it even really happen, right? You can create a beautiful website. You can create amazing content. But if the right people aren't seeing it, not going to help you. Okay. So step two is to push that content in front of your ideal clients. And again, we're going to talk in great detail about how to do that. Three, now you've got this content, you've got these ads, you're pushing this content out. Now we're going to use some tools like email marketing, retargeting, social media to nurture those leads. This is actually one of the most important steps. Andrea, you mentioned referral marketing. This is how referral marketing happens. This is one of the most important steps that a lot of law firm owners skip, right? They may create content, they may be running ads, but there's not a nurture component. And here's the thing, and I'm going to put this in a visual format for you in just a second. Step three is what pulls the whole thing together. So here's how we lay it out, okay? First thing we're going to do is build what we call a content funnel. All right. That is using several marketing channels that you guys probably have heard of, right? I don't think any of this is a surprise. We've got social media, right? Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We've got an email newsletter, one of the most underutilized, least sexy, but really, really incredibly valuable marketing tools. We've got a blog. Again, this isn't new, but how you use it is what really matters. We've got video. You've obviously got a website. And the sort of piece that we think really pulls a lot of it all together is what's called retargeting ads. Okay. So you're creating this content, but you're using it for a very specific purpose. The first specific purpose is nurturing that existing network, right? So you guys all have previous clients, you've got current clients, you've got referral sources, you've got new leads coming in the door. Well, what are you doing with them after you've already worked with them or after you've already had that conversation? How are you staying in touch with them? That's really important because a lot of you probably have heard it takes multiple touch points before you can get somebody to take action. So we build this content funnel to create recurring touch points with the people that already know you. And what are you doing with that content? You're providing value. You're building a relationship, right? Anytime somebody is considering working with a law firm, there is a trust gap that has to be bridged, right? Hiring a law firm is scary. It's usually there's something big going on in your life, right? Whether it's divorce, whether it's you just had a kid, whether it's you started a business, injured in a car accident, right? It's a big deal. Okay? It's a big deal and people are scared and they are much more likely to move forward with a law firm if they feel some level of relationship. So we use content to build those relationships, right? Third is you got to keep showing up. Eddie, to your point, 8 to 15 touch points before somebody takes action. So it's not good enough to just have one conversation or have somebody land on your website once, right? And last, we got to keep driving people down the funnel. Every time there's a touch point, you want to make it easy for them to take the next step. They read your blog, cool. Make sure there's a link for them to schedule that consultation to move forward. They watched your video on social media. Cool. Make sure there's a link so they can take the next step. Eddie, I want to pause here for a second. Do you have
Yeah.
anything you want to add to this piece of the conversation?
I know where you're going with this. I've seen this many times, but remember, like with this, there's two worlds. There's farming and there's hunting. What he's pointing out in this content funnel is farming. We're taking as many referrals and we're squeezing your network to get it. Even if you have referrals getting in, we can get more, squeeze more. And this is how you get more referrals, not just referral marketing, but more referrals. This is farming and this is extracting every ounce of referral you can possibly get.
I love it. And the cool thing is, depending, and this is why we started by saying it depends on your goals. Eddie,
Mhm.
tell me if you see it any differently, but there are law firms who this can basically be their digital marketing strategy. Like
Absolutely.
if you
Absolutely.
have a large network and if you only want to focus on referral marketing, like this is actually kind of it. And I realize we're only like 15 minutes into this thing,
Mhm.
but like this is kind of it. Like you're using social media, you're using email marketing, you're using content to stay connected to those people. And if you've got 1,000 people on your
Mhm.
email list, 5,000 people on your email list, this stuff really like exponentially works. Okay. Every time your email newsletter goes out, you're reaching a couple thousand people. Now, listen, if you only have 100 people, okay, you probably got to do some work to grow that list. Or if you're looking to grow faster and more predictably than referrals alone, you probably got to do some things to grow that list. That brings us to the next step in this equation, which is all right, we've got this funnel. We're nurturing our relationships. We're nurturing client relationships. We're nurturing referral sources. Now, how do we grow it? All right. So, this is where we bring ads and search marketing into the equation. Digital ads, Google, Meta, LinkedIn. And by the way, guys, I'm going to show you examples of kind of how we use all of this stuff. But digital ads bring new leads into the funnel. Sometimes they hire you right away. Most of the time, it takes them a little while, right? It might take them a week, it might take them a month, it might take them 6 months. It depends on your practice area, it depends on the type of clients you serve. But the bottom line is you're running an ad to bring someone into your funnel. Now you got to let the funnel work. Eddie, one of the things that I see as a big gap pretty often is law firms that are generating leads, but they don't have a funnel to nurture the leads. Do you see that?
All the time. And I usually tell them we're not ready for this yet. This is this we're just not ready yet. I mean, we have to have a situation points in place. Those leads are going to drop, and they said we just don't have it in place. We can get leads, but that's when they start. You have to have a position in place or a system in place to be able to nurture those until they're ready to buy, until they're ready to book a consultation. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Um, Lead gen is great, but what are you going to do with the leads? And so it's just really, really important that you build these funnels in place, right? Next big one that we're seeing really emerge, and we've done a lot of webinars on this, and I recognize some of the names here, so I know some of you have been to these, right? Is AI search marketing. getting your law firm found on ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity. But listen, bottom line, it doesn't matter whether they come from a Facebook ad or a ChatGPT search or a Google search. Obviously, objective number one is to get them to call your firm right away and schedule a consultation. But most of the time, it's going to take some nurture. And so it's just really important that we've got this funnel built before we go advertise on Google, advertise on Meta, and generate all these leads that then are not going to be converted. All right. Why do we do all of this? It's not just about generating more leads, right? It's about generating clients, more specifically, the right types of clients, better clients, more referrals, more repeat business. By the way, when you put a content funnel in place, it even gives you the ability to charge higher rates. Okay. We talked about increasing your average case value. When you build a brand, a reputation, and build some authority as really great in your field, in your niche, you have the ability to charge higher rates. Like, think about the difference between going to a general practitioner and going to a heart surgeon, right? Heart surgeon, higher rates. Okay. Same is true in legal. If you are a generalist and nobody's heard of you and you haven't built a reputation, you just don't have the ability to charge the same rates as someone who's laser focused, maybe in a specific practice area, has written a book, has a blog, has this video library, has built this reputation. As you do these things, you have the ability not only to attract better clients, but to raise your average case value. So listen, this is the snapshot. Okay, this is the snapshot. Um, I know we're throwing a lot at you, so I will be happy to sort of answer questions as we go. Feel free to drop them in the chat. Also, we'll make some time to answer questions at the end. But just give me a thumbs up or just type one in the chat or something. Let me know, is this making sense? Is this helpful? Do you understand where we're going? Or do you have questions? And if you have questions, more than happy to answer them. Brett, thank you. Andrea, thank you. Glad this is helpful. We're going to keep going. This is the big picture. And now we're going to zoom in a little bit. All right. Very first thing that has to happen. Very first thing that has to happen before we even get to what I just showed you. Important foundational step. You need to define who your ideal clients actually are. Who are the clients you want to attract to your law firm? People talk about this as your ideal client avatar, your client avatar. But you got to do this work, okay? It's not overly complicated. I'm going to give you a really simple formula. You've got to do this work because, again, otherwise, what the heck are we building this machine around, okay? So number one is what's the avatar? Demographics, psychographics, values, like who are your ideal clients? Two is what are their trigger points, right? What makes them enter the market, right? And again, I'll give you a visual in just a second. Third is you need to understand how they feel, right? As lawyers, many of you are great at going to the logic piece of things, right? I get it. I'm wired that way too. But you got to understand your clients most of the time are experiencing some intense emotions. And you've heard it said, people buy based on emotion. Maybe they justify with logic, but they buy based on emotion. And so through your advertising, you need to speak to the emotions they're experiencing. And then you need to show them the light at the end of the tunnel. And that means you need to understand how they want to feel, right? You're going to help them get from point A to point B. Point A, most of the time, is not great, but they really want to get to point B. And your marketing and then your intake process is all about showing them, hey, I understand where you are, and I'm going to help you get to where you want to go. So let me just flesh this out for you, right? I have done 3-day workshops and gone really, really deep into this. Like I said, we've got a lot of ground to cover, so I can't spend too much time. But just this is the formula, right? Just imagine this on a big marker board, right? It's just a matrix. One is the avatar, right? Who are the clients you want to attract? As an example, right? I built this out with sort of a specific client in mind, but like you'll see, you plug in your information, right? So this particular marketing campaign is targeting women between ages 30 and 55, married, in the Charlotte metro. They own a home. They have minor kids, at least one kid under the age of 18. They're a, quote, stay-at-home mom, right? So they don't work. And they are into, like, from a lifestyle perspective, yoga, Pilates, nutrition, things like that, and there's a household income of at least $200,000. Okay. That
Mhm.
is a detailed client avatar. I'm sure many of you could create something similar. Do me a favor in the chat. Have you defined a client avatar like to this level of specificity? Do you have it written? It can be in your head. It can be, but like somewhere, do you have a picture of who your ideal clients look like? Or is this something that, in all honesty, like you haven't really gotten to yet? I would just love to hear like where are you guys in this journey? Do you have this stuff sketched out, or is this something you're still developing?
And from my experience, most of it is very broad. So people say, yes, I'm a family law attorney. I'm looking for people that are want to divorce peacefully. Like that is their ideal client. Tip of the iceberg. And we're talking about everything underneath the surface here. That is that when you say who is your ideal client, do I know them? It's everything under the surface. And I think that's where I think well we a lot of people fall short,
One
but very
book,
important.
completely agreed, Eddie. If you guys have not read the book Story Brand, I highly
Mm.
recommend it. It really is a shortcut to defining this stuff. Brett, I'm glad you mentioned what you did. You're hit or miss depending on practice area. This does get harder when you have multiple practice areas, but the honest truth is if you are serious about growing a specific practice area, you really do want to do this for that practice area because you're marketing for, I don't know what your practice areas are, Brett, feel free to drop in chat if you want, but the marketing for, family law is going to look different than estate planning versus criminal. And so going through this process for each of those practice areas is really valuable. So, okay, so you've got the avatar, right? But in this case, this is a family law firm. And so this woman, right, can have all of these characteristics, but she's not an ideal client until something happens that makes her an ideal client, right? Think if you're in the PI space, right? I'm sure you can relate to this. They're not an ideal client until they're in a car accident, and then all of a sudden they're a perfect client, right? So, what happens in order to make them into an ideal client? In this case, for this ad campaign, the trigger point is spouse files for divorce. Okay. And you notice I'm being real specific here. This isn't she wants to file for divorce. This is her spouse files for divorce. Right. And then, so how does that make her feel? In this case, some of the top emotions that we pulled out were angry, right? Just angry, overwhelmed because there is so much that goes into, not only the divorce process, but then what comes next. And then a common one that we see a lot for particularly a spouse that does not have a full-time career is a lot of concern for the future. How am I gonna get by without an income? How am I gonna take care of our kids? What's gonna happen to the house? Right? Some really deep stuff. And if you ignore this and just go straight to like the logic and the legal process, you miss a really important opportunity to like connect with them emotionally and show them that you understand what they're going through, right? And then how do they want to feel? Okay, they're in this place of anger, overwhelm, fear. How do they want to feel? In this case, confident, secure. They want to be able to move forward with confidence. This is your snapshot for your marketing campaign, right? You know who you're targeting, you know how they feel, you know how they want to feel. Great. The ad campaign writes itself. Are you a, stay-at-home mom in Charlotte and you were blindsided because your spouse filed for divorce? We get it. You're angry, you're overwhelmed, you're fearful, right? You don't know what's going to happen next. Don't worry, we can help. We can help you move forward with confidence. We can help you feel secure. Click here to book your consultation. Like it kind of writes itself once you go through this process. So, we're always happy to share the recording or just take a screenshot. Like literally just going through this exercise for each of your client avatars is really, really important. You got to do it before you launch into the build out of what I just showed you. All right. Cool. Eddie, anything to add here?
And I mentioned story branding. A lot of times when people who haven't done this exercise spend a lot of time focusing on themselves, their credentials, I mean, their numbers, I mean, which is all a piece of it, but they completely miss the thing and saying, how does my potential client want to feel? And that's where their marketing falls real flat and will never resonate in the emotional way that you're describing.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. The average, if you look at an average law firm website, there's a lot of content about years of experience and credentials. And the truth is that's not what the average client is looking for. So really good point, Eddie. Thanks for sharing that. All right. So once you've done that, Okay, so you've got your avatar, you've thought through what are their trigger points, you've thought about their emotional current state and also where they want to go. Now come back to the funnel that we just talked about. And step one is to build your content strategy. So the first step in that is spend a little time brainstorming. What are the top 10 questions, fears, concerns, opportunities that keep your clients up at night, right? We just talked about who your ideal clients are. Now, I want you to spend a little time trying to get into their head. What are their concerns? If we go back to that avatar I just showed you, maybe number one question is going to be, how am I going to earn an income, right? How am I going to, provide the education that I want my kids to have, right? Just make that list of questions. And by the way, we've done a lot of this for a lot of practice areas. Mike on our team, if you don't mind, Mike, drop in the chat. We've done some of these based on some like AI research and just some data analytics. We work with like 200 law firms all over the country. So what this is kind of by practice area, a list of some of the top questions that we see potential clients asking. Right. And this is great, whether it's, you're thinking about AI search marketing or just your content strategy in general. So if you're in one of these practice areas, grab it's just a free cheat sheet. We'll help you out a little bit. Maybe it'll give you a place to get started. Your clients may be different, but this will give you an idea of sort of where to begin. Okay. And if your practice area isn't here, don't worry, we're working on it. But go ahead and drop in the chat. Let us know what practice area you'd like us to do next. This is just something we're giving away for free to kind of help people out. So what are the top 10 questions that keep people up at night? This then becomes your content strategy. Like, you did it. This is it. You did it. Right now you can write blogs, you can create video, you create social media content, you can build lead magnets. We'll talk about those in a second. But you've already figured out the hard part, which is what the heck are you supposed to write about? It's not writing about case law. It's not writing about your credentials. It's just answering their questions. It doesn't have to be harder than that. It's just answering the questions that keep them up at night. That's how you build content strategy. Okay. So what do those tools look like? I'm going to go fast here. We could do a whole webinar on each one of these, but again, this is big picture, right? So your website, okay? You want to be sure your website lets people know that they're in the right place. You'll see this statement here, helping entrepreneurs start, grow, protect their business. Just a simple statement, make it clear who you serve, right? Remember, marketing attracts the right people and it keeps everybody else away. Two is you want to position your firm as credible, authoritative, right? You want to make people feel good about hiring your law firm. And three, you want to provide a clear next step. Could be a phone number, could be a contact form. Don't make people work to figure out how to go forward, okay? You've got a blog, right? Again, blogs aren't necessarily super exciting, but for a whole variety of reasons, a really valuable marketing tool. So use your blog to answer the questions that your potential clients are asking, right? Just talked you through the process of making a list, coming up with topics one at a time, answer those questions. Those become a blog, right? Each one of those becomes a great blog entry. Keep in mind, we touched on this too. You want to show off empathy. You want to show people you get it, not just you've got the authority to know what to do about it, right? You understand what they're going through and you have the ability to help them solve the problem. Both are important, right? We don't have time to go deep in this now, but as you're doing this stuff, you want to think about SEO, and you also want to think about AI search. We're going to have another webinar in the next couple of weeks around AI search. Formatting content for AI search looks a little different than for Google search. We'll get into that. We also have several resources on our website. Mike, if you don't mind, drop a link real quick to our, I know you probably don't have this handy, so it's fine if it takes you a minute, to our ChatGPT lead magnet, right? If you guys are looking for sort of more detail on how to format content specifically for AI, this link that Mike's going to drop in the chat is going to help. Okay. Always include a call to action. Like I said, you always want to give people a clear next step. Third is video FAQs. Again, I'm not going to spend a ton of time here. Just film a video, answer a question, right? In today's day and age, you could do it on your iPhone. You can do it using a web camera. You can have a video team come into your office and do it for you, right? But bottom line, create video answering the questions your clients are asking. Okay, then you have social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, right? These are great places to create touch points, okay? Again, remember, you're bringing people into this funnel. Some of them are already in the funnel because they already know you, but they need touch points. And those touch points are moving them down the funnel towards hiring you, but they're also creating awareness to help them recognize referral opportunities. Okay. So social is a really great place to create those touch points. You use blog, you use video to create those touch points, to build your credibility, to demonstrate expertise, whole nine yards. Okay. Eddie, before I move on, anything you want to add to sort of the content piece? And also, if folks listening, if you guys have questions, feel free to ask them.
So anyone that's really big in referrals that says my firm runs referrals, awesome. But if you're saying my firm runs on referrals and you don't have the things that we just outlined, I mean the blogs, the videos, the social media strategy, you got to figure that people getting referred to your firm are probably like 80, 90% of the way there. They believe in you because they got referred to you. These blogs, videos, FAQs, take them the rest of the way. So the question you have to ask yourself, if you're getting referrals and you don't have these things, how many referrals have I lost by not having these little extra credibility boosters? These are icing on the cake. This is what's going to get a referral, more referrals for you once they get to your website and they get the credibility and trust piece established. So you'll see an uptick in referrals.
Yeah, love it. It's a great point. Don't make it more complicated than this, guys. Just answer the questions your clients are asking. Answer the questions, answer the questions, answer the questions. It's how you create value. It's how you build relationships. It's how you drive referrals, like Eddie just said. All right, so that was the funnel piece of it. Okay. Again, for a lot of law firms,
Mhm.
that can be the strategy. Andrea, you mentioned referral marketing is kind of your focus. Like that really kind of is the strategy. That's how digital marketing supports referrals. Okay. And I love that we're having this conversation because a lot of folks view referral marketing as somehow like in conflict with digital marketing, but smart digital marketing helps you get more referrals, and this is how. All right.
Yep.
But some of you want to grow beyond referrals. You're moving into a new practice area, a new market, or you just want to grow faster. So, step two is bringing paid ads into the equation. Okay. Starts with creating content, right? Blogs, video. But then we're going to get into two kind of specific types of campaign. One is a lead magnet campaign, and the other we refer to as a call me now campaign. I'm giving you an example of what both look like. But before we do that, I want you to understand something. Okay. Your potential clients are somewhere on this spectrum, right? Somewhere we call it the level of urgency, right? You got on one end of the spectrum, like just kind of like whistling past the graveyard, right? Doesn't know there's a problem, blissfully ignorant, like just not even thinking about, your area of work, right? Think about maybe in PI. It's a great example of this because like, most people don't need a PI lawyer until they need a PI lawyer, right? So they're just not thinking about it, right? But then you've sort of got the middle spectrum, right? Which is people are starting to think about this thing. Maybe they're in a relationship that's not going well, and so they're starting to think about divorce. Maybe they are about to have their first kid, and so they're starting to think about estate planning, right? This level of awareness, you're starting to think about these things. And then you've got the level 10, right? The other extreme, which is, wow, I was in a car accident. I've got major medical bills. I need help right now. Or I was arrested and I am in jail. Okay. I need help right now. Smart marketing matches to the level of urgency. If somebody is in that level 5 category and you run advertising that is pushing them to book a consultation, they're probably not ready yet. Okay. They probably need some webinars, right? A lead magnet, a workshop. Okay. Conversely, if somebody's in this level 10 and they are sitting in jail, they don't want to go to your webinar. Okay. They're not looking to register for your webinar next Tuesday. They're like, get me out of jail now. Okay. So smart marketing matches the offer, right? Which is like, either a lead magnet or webinar to the urgency. Okay. And when we talk about call me now, that's just a campaign where what you're pushing them to do is call you right now. Okay. That's the type of campaign who somebody who's sitting in jail or was just in a car accident is more likely to respond to. Guys, is this making sense? Give me a thumbs up. Let me know if you have questions. Want to make sure that this is all landing because we are moving fast. All right. So we've got this level of urgency, right? And hopefully, as you guys are thinking about this, you recognize that your clients, maybe they kind of all come in the same spot, but you also probably have some clients that come in with a lower level of urgency than others, right? And so part of the challenge and part of what you got to do with your marketing is meet them where they are and push them towards taking action. Okay. So two ways we do that with ads. And I'm going to give you just a real quick breakdown of how this works. You can do this yourself if you want to. By the way, everything I'm listing here, guys, you can do on your own. I'm really giving you the strategy. At the same time, this is what our team does. We are doing this for 180 some clients, almost exclusively law firms all over the country. Be happy to have a conversation with you. Mike, if you don't mind dropping a link in the chat, if you guys do want us to do this for you, we'd be happy to talk about that. Click the link Mike's going to drop in the chat. But I'm going to show you how to do it on your own. Okay. So step one, to create an ad, right? And we love paid social. We find that you can typically get lower cost leads through paid social than through paid search. We'll do paid search too, but we really love paid social. We see a lot more opportunity there because frankly, there are a lot more lawyers advertising on Google than there are on Facebook and LinkedIn. But there's a time and place for all of them. That could probably be our next webinar, Google versus paid social, right? But paid social, you create an ad, okay? Your ad is just some written copy and there's a graphic, right? So this is an estate planning example, right? You see the big graphic, are your kids protected? And the copy is, do you have a will in place to protect your kids and your loved ones? If not, let's do something about it. We've created a complimentary checklist to help you get started. Click here to download your copy. This is a lead magnet offer, right? We are not asking them to book a consultation. We're offering them a lead magnet. I'll show you more about what that looks like in just a second. Next, you actually get to program in your targeting, right? So you can take that client avatar information and turn that into a Facebook audience. Here's an example. This isn't built on that avatar that I just showed you, but it is targeting Charlotte. It is targeting upper 10% of household income. It's targeting parents of minor children. You can do this on Facebook. It's really cool. You can be really, really targeted about who you put your content in front of, okay? Then, once you've done that, now your ad is going to start showing up in the news feed of your target audience, right? So when somebody matches this criteria, they're going to start seeing the ad. That's why with paid social, we can be really targeted about who we put our content in front of. Let me break this down for you. Here's what this looks like. Remember, I said there's two types of campaigns. We see a lot of success with both. Some clients do better with one or the other. Some clients do well with both. The first is a lead nurture campaign. So the idea is we're giving them something for free, right, to educate, nurture them, capture their contact information. So first step is an ad, right? So we've got an ad here offering 5 estate planning documents you must have in place by age 50. This is a special report. Once they click on the ad, we're not taking them to the homepage. We're taking them to a landing page, which has been built by our team with the sole purpose of getting them to download that thing. Okay, we're not even asking them to book a consultation yet. We're asking them to just complete the process, download the thing that they're interested in, right? Then, once we've done that, we then create what's called a drip campaign. So the first email that goes out is going to deliver the lead magnet. Here's the checklist you asked for. Congratulations. By the way, if you'd like our help, if you're ready to move forward, click here to book a consultation. And you send another email, right? And again, it's not just spamming people, it's providing value, but everything we do is driving them towards scheduling a consultation. Eddie, anything to add here sort of on the lead nurture component of this?
Just going back to the touch points. I mean, look how many touch points are in here. You have the social ad, you have a landing page, you have 5 to 7 emails going out drip campaigns. Like we're trying to cover you to get you those touch points to get to that consultation. The consultation button was the one hit wonder. We wish it was, we would do that. But this is set up so you have all the touch points right as you need them to get to that consultation point.
And the idea here is we're meeting people where they are. Like these ads are targeted for folks who are in that like 5, 6, 7 level of urgency. Yep. Where they are learning, okay? They're not ready to book a consult yet, but guess what? They'll definitely download your estate planning checklist. Okay, so then version number 2, campaign number 2 is what we call a call me now campaign. And this is where we are, as Eddie alluded to, going straight for that consultation, right? PI is the classic example. Injured in a car accident, click here to schedule a consultation, right? Straightforward. Obviously makes sense in PI, but it also makes sense in most practice areas, right? Think about family law. You've got one use case, right? One client journey where they're thinking about this for a long time, right? And so maybe they're going to go to a webinar or download your lead magnet. But then we also have people who just found out that their spouse filed for divorce. They're probably going to respond to this type of advertising, right? So really, most law firms, there's a place for both of these campaigns. So that's the paid ad piece of this, okay? And remember, the idea is we're using these ads to generate leads, but we're dropping them into the content funnel. You can't just generate leads and then expect that they're going to convert on their own. You need to have a content funnel in place. That's why that was step 1, okay? Once you've got that in place, Now we have the conversation about paid ads. All right. If you've got questions, drop them in the chat, but I'm going to keep moving because there's another piece to this, right? And this is step three is now being intentional about making sure we are nurturing these leads and nurturing your list of clients, past clients, referral sources. And there's a few things that we find like really particularly effective at this. And the first is social retargeting. Okay. We can use, and we do this for dozens and dozens of clients, the social networks that they spend their time on, like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and we can push your content in front of them, but not just like randomly. We can push your content in front of specific groups of people. For example, if you've got a list, an email list of, let's say, 1,000 former clients, referral sources, friends, leads, people who had a consultation but didn't hire you, former clients, right? We take that email list, we load it into Facebook, and then Facebook can actually create advertising that pushes that content in front of those people. Okay, so it's a low spend, a couple $100s a month, but it pushes your content in front of a very targeted list over and over and over again. It creates the touch points Eddie was talking about, right? Drip campaign, right? We talked about that. Someone downloads your lead magnet, comes to your webinar, they should get follow-up emails, okay? We also talked about why a monthly newsletter is so valuable, right? In one click, you can reach your entire database. And that newsletter, I'll show you an example in just a second. But Eddie, would you see it any differently? Because here's my answer. When someone asks if I can only do one marketing tool, strategy for the
Yes.
rest of my life, I'm going to say do an email newsletter.
Yeah, I knew what you were going to say. I mean, the ROI is like 45, 35, 45 to 1. I mean, it's the easiest, least sexy, but most bang for your buck thing every attorney should be doing right now.
And the larger your list is, the more valuable it is, right? If you've got 50 people on your list, you should still do it because guess what? It's easier to stay in touch to those 50 people through a newsletter than to try to have lunch with every one of them every month. But once you get to 500, 1,000, 2,000, this thing just becomes more and more valuable. And by the way, you use the ad campaigns I just showed you to grow that list, right? That's how your list grows. All right, so here's just a quick example of kind of what newsletters look like. The specifics don't really matter, but bottom line, you want your newsletter to feel branded, to have a picture of you, to always have a clear call to action. You want it to go to your entire network at least once a month. And really, you're looking to do two things. You're reminding them what you do and who you help. Okay. You want your whole network, your referral sources, your former clients to recognize what an ideal client looks like and how you serve those people. That's how you get more referrals. That's how you nurture clients, potential clients over time, right? That's the email newsletter. So I am going to just kind of recap it all because I just threw a ton of information at you guys. And I just want to be sure this is all landed, right? So if you're still following along, if you've got questions, feel free to ask. But this is how the process works. It starts with building the content funnel. Okay. We talked about social, we talked about email marketing, we talked about blogging, video, website content, retargeting. You're building the funnel. You're using that funnel to create repeated touch points with that whole list. Past clients, current clients, referral sources, new leads. Okay. And we're using that content to provide value, to build the relationship, to show up over and over again, and ultimately drive them down the funnel towards hiring your law firm. Okay. Again, that's a complete marketing solution. Okay. If you don't feel the need to grow beyond referrals, this is your referral marketing strategy. Okay. But if you do want to grow beyond referrals, that's where these ad campaigns come in. And I shared some examples of paid social, but Google's part of this conversation too. You're going out, you're generating new leads. Some of them might hire you right away. That's a home run. We love it, right? We love it when somebody hires you the minute they respond to your ad. But more often than not, take some time, take some nurture. And if you don't have the content funnel in place, that doesn't happen, right? So that's why the funnel is so important. AI platforms, Google search, bottom line, there are all these different channels. Listen, billboards could be part of this conversation. Direct mail could be part of this conversation. There's lots of ways to go generate leads and get their contact information. What's important is that you have a system in place to nurture those leads, okay? Again, it's not just about a volume of leads. It is about the right types of leads. It's about more referrals. It's about more repeat business. It's about allowing you to charge higher rates. Eddie, anything you want to add? You have these conversations a lot with law firms all over the country. Anything you'd sort of add to this piece here?
Other than we know within about thing. I mean, it's such a systematic process to be able to from start to finish. I mean, just meeting with us and being able to talk through this. I mean, the holes are glaring, and you'll see it work when once you start putting these things together. But no, this is it's again hunting and farming. The funnel, farming on the top part, you're hunting.
Love it. Awesome. All right. So listen, like I said, I know we move fast, but like this is kind of it. I'm not trying to overcomplicate this. I'm trying to make it really simple. Could we go really deep into what digital advertising looks like? Yes. We've done entire webinars about what AI search looks like. Yes. Each part of this there is further unpacking, but bottom line, like this is the formula. And then obviously, you can take this and you can do it on your own, right? You can come to our webinars. We do like 2 webinars a month. We'll teach you how to do this stuff over the course of the next 12 months. If you come to every one of these webinars, we'll teach you how to do a whole heck of a lot of this stuff. Or you can just hire us and have us do it for you. And if you want to know what that looks like, I'm going to share it with you right now. We basically have 4 different solutions, all built based on like law firms of a specific size, right? Because the reality is, marketing for a law firm doing $300,000 a year looks very different than marketing for a law firm doing 3 million a year, right? And so here's how we break it all down. We have what we call our start package, which is really built for law firms under about 500K in annual revenue. It includes a monthly blog, a newsletter, organic social media, basic SEO optimization, and AI search optimization. That is 1450 per month, which comes out to about 5 to 6% of that law firm's revenue. If you are a finance and business nerd like me, you know that like kind of rule of thumb recommendation is you want to reinvest about 10% of your revenue into your marketing. We've built all of these packages to really only take about half or less than that, right? Because we understand that you probably need to do some other marketing beyond this. That's why we price these things the way we do, as low as possible for law firms, kind of whatever size they're at, right? So this is the package for law firms under 500K, okay? The Grow package is built for law firms between 500,000 and 1 million. It's all the same basic components of the start package, right? This is the content funnel, but then we build in some additional email marketing and we build in the social retargeting. In my opinion, that's when the magic really starts to happen. But guess what? Like until your marketing budget is a little bit higher, maybe that's out of reach. So if you're under 500,000, start on the start package. As you grow, you have the opportunity to level up, right? Then we have our scale package, which is really built for firms between 1 and 2.5 million. It's all the same things as the grow package, but now we're bringing lead generation ads. We'll typically do both a call me now campaign and a drip campaign or a lead magnet campaign. But if it makes more sense for you to do 2 lead magnet campaigns or 2 call me now campaigns, that's totally fine. And then it also brings the drip email marketing into the equation. That's $39.50 per month. And at this point, you also do want to have like at least a $750 ad spend. Most of our clients are spending more than that on ads. But the cool thing is you can scale your ad budget up or down based on how well it's working, how much you need to grow this month, how many leads you want to generate next week, that type of thing. And then we have the Dominate package. This is built for firms that are over 2.5 million. It is 4 blogs. It is 2 newsletters. We moved to an advanced SEO solution. We're not an SEO first marketing firm, by the way. We believe that very basic SEO is honestly perfectly fine for a lot of law firms, particularly smaller law firms, because you don't have the budget to compete with like the 400-pound gorilla. But as you grow and you do want to move into that, we have an advanced SEO solution for that, right? That's $59.50 per month. And again, then there's an ad spend. So listen, bottom line, if you want to work with us, we'd love to work with you. You've got a link. You can schedule a consultation, and Eddie or someone else on the team will be happy to talk to you about that. But my number one goal, whether we do this for you, whether you do it yourself, I want you to have the strategy. I want you to understand why we do this. And so that's what we tried to cover here today. Andrea, I'm glad it was helpful. Carmen, I'm glad it was helpful. I got another couple of minutes. Happy to hang out and answer some questions. I'm going to back up and throw the funnel back on here. If you guys have questions, happy to answer them. If not, stay tuned. We've got another webinar coming up in just a couple weeks. Pretty sure we're going to dive pretty deep into ChatGPT for this one because rumor is ChatGPT is going to release ads in just the next few weeks. Okay. So maybe not next few weeks, few months. We don't know the exact timeline, but it's coming
Eminently.
soon. And we think it's going to be a really big deal. So that'll be the next webinar. You're welcome, Carmen, John, Andrea. Glad this was helpful. Watch your inbox. We will let you know when this next webinar is scheduled. We'll hope to see you all there. If you guys do, again, want to have a one-on-one conversation, hit that link. If you want a recording of this, Eddie, I think you'll probably be in touch with people to give them a recording if they want it.
I can promise you I will be. Yeah, absolutely. I'll be offering it. Andrea, Carmen, I'll be out there offering you free recordings. Absolutely. Yep. All right, Andrea, I'm on it. I got it.
Love it. Eddie, listen, thanks for being here, man. This was
Always,
great.
buddy. Always.
Appreciate everybody's time. And we'll see you next time.